So what really makes the country powerful these days? I mean, in the 21st century, it's not just about tanks and territory anymore, not by a long shot. Today, we're going to dive into a totally new map of power. A world where data flows are like the new trade routes, and, get this, algorithms can actually be more influential than entire armies.
You know, for centuries, the main question in geopolitics was pretty straightforward, right? It was just, who controls the land? But that is all changing. The new battlefield? It's not just physical anymore. It's this incredibly complex web of information, infrastructure, and, well, influence.
Okay, to help us get our heads around this new landscape, here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with a quick history lesson. Then I'll introduce you to a real game-changing way to think about modern nations. And finally, we'll meet the new players on the field and try to understand the new rules of this global power game.
Right, so to understand where we're going, you first got to understand where we've been. Because the very idea of what a state even is, well, that's been constantly evolving.
Sovereignty has always been kind of a moving target. We started in a world where power was all about land, thanks to the Peace of Westphalia. Then we moved into an era of controlling sea lanes and global finance. But now we're in a completely new age. Our source material calls it a digital Westphalia, and it's a world where the ultimate power comes from controlling the flow of information itself. Crazy, right?
So how do we even begin to get a handle on this super complex new reality? Well, our source offers up this brilliant metaphor that really makes it all click into place.
Instead of just seeing a state as a patch of land on a map, I want you to imagine it as a complex computer. It's a living, breathing, socio-technical system, and it has its own hardware, its own processor, and its own software that keeps the whole thing running.
First up, you've got the hardware. This is all the tangible stuff you can actually touch and see. The military, the energy grid, the factories, all the roads and ports. This is the physical foundation of a state's power.
Next up is the processor. Think of this as the state's digital nervous system. It's all about the ability to gather data from sensors, from satellites, analyze that info, and then make decisions fast. It is all about speed.
And then there's the software. Now, this is the most abstract layer, but honestly, it's maybe the most powerful. This is the shared story of a nation. It's the trust people have in their government, the belief system that holds the entire thing together.
Okay, so how do these three elements, hardware, processor, and software, actually fit together? Well, they form a kind of pyramid of power, and really understanding this hierarchy is the key to understanding modern geopolitics.
So at the very base of the pyramid, you have the physical layer, the hardware. This is the bedrock. It includes everything from raw military might to energy and food security. Seriously, without these fundamental things, everything else just collapses. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? If the battery runs out, even the most advanced software is just darkness. It's such a powerful reminder that physical power is the foundation for everything. I mean, you can't run a digital world without electricity. You can't have an army without fuel. That hardware layer is absolutely essential.
The processor layer is all about speed and making smart decisions. The military has a great term for this, the OODA loop. You observe what's happening, you orient yourself to the new reality, you decide on a course of action, and then you act. In any modern conflict or crisis, the side that can race through this cycle the fastest gets a massive advantage. It's all about what they call decision dominance.
And that brings us to the very top of the pyramid, the software layer. This is where a vital new concept comes into play, and it's called cognitive security. This is the battle for hearts and minds, the battle for a shared sense of reality itself.
The key takeaway here is pretty profound. A state can lose its meaning long before it loses its land. Think about that. If a society loses faith in its own story, then its own army can start to feel like an occupying force. The software is the operating system, right? And if it crashes, the whole machine goes down with it.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. This new model of sovereignty doesn't just apply to nations. A completely new kind of player has entered the geopolitical arena. And guess what? They operate by these exact same rules.
So what we have now is a new two-tiered map of power. On one side, you have your traditional states with their borders and their laws. But on the other, you have what our source calls digital leviathans. These are the tech giants that operate on a global scale. And they wield immense power over data, over infrastructure, and over billions of users. Just think about the influence of companies like Google, Meta, or Amazon in our daily lives. It's a totally new form of power that just blows past national boundaries.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. An algorithm sometimes works faster than the law. The sheer speed and scale of these platform algorithms, the things that shape what we see, what we think, and what we do, can just completely outpace the slow, traditional processes of government and lawmaking.
So, what does this all mean in the real world? What are the implications of this new power struggle between states and these tech giants? Well, for one thing, it is literally redrawing the map of global power. You know, we used to think of geopolitical choke points as these narrow little straits where oil tankers have to pass through. And look, those are still critical. But today's most important choke points are the nodes of our digital world, those undersea cables that carry our data, the massive data centers that store it, and the specialized factories that build the computer chips that power it all. If you control these, you control the flow of the 21st century's most valuable resource, information. So let's bring it all together. What's the bottom line here? What does this new, multi-layered view of power tell us about the future of global competition?
Well, the ultimate formula for power in the 21st century kind of looks like this. Strategic sovereignty is your physical capacity plus your technological speed. But then, here's the kicker. It's all multiplied by your social legitimacy. So it's not just about adding up your assets. It's about that multiplier effect of trust. If you lose that, the whole equation just falls apart.
This is a really powerful final thought from our source material. It suggests that the ultimate battle for the future isn't just about physical control or even digital control, but about the control of narratives, of belief, and of reality itself.
And so, that leaves us with the defining questions of our time. Who is processing the data? Who is managing the system? And who is convincing society? The old question of who controls the land just isn't enough anymore. The next time you're reading the news, try asking yourself these new questions. I promise it'll change the way you see the world. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.